the Lord be with you, and a warm welcome to you from all of us here in Powers Court with Kilbride. Well, can you believe that this Sunday is Palm Sunday, and Easter Sunday, the 5th of April, is so close to Christmas this year. It seems that we have just got over the Christmas season and Epiphany, and Lent has arrived abruptly. And so today we are looking at the scripture for Palm Sunday, and I would like to offer you a little piece of prose that offers you a question and a challenge as the followers of Christ. But first, and as always, we pause with the Christ in prayer. When they had come near Jerusalem and had reached Bethphage at the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent 2 disciples, saying to them, "Go into the village ahead of you, and immediately you will find a donkey tied and a colt with her. Untie them and bring them to me. If anyone says anything to you, just say this: 'The Lord needs them,' and he will send them immediately." This took place to fulfill what had been spoken through the prophet, saying, "Tell the daughter of Zion, look, your king is coming to you, humble and mounted on a donkey, and on a colt, the foal of a donkey." The disciples went and did as Jesus had directed them. They brought the donkey and the colt and put their cloaks on them, and he sat on them. A very large crowd spread their cloaks on the road, and others cut branches from the trees and spread them on the road. The crowds that went ahead of him and that followed were shouting, "Hosanna to the Son of David! Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord! Hosanna in the highest heaven!" When he entered Jerusalem, the whole city was in turmoil, asking, "Who is this?" The crowds were saying, "This is the prophet Jesus from Nazareth in Galilee." When we look at our world today, particularly the chaos that is going on in warfare, it's very easy for us to become disillusioned and disheartened and afraid. And quite often we think that we don't really make an awful lot of difference, or there's this feeling of futility that we can't make an awful lot of difference. And in our Wednesday fellowship this week, we posed the question to one another, how frustrating is it to recognise that God will indeed redeem this world, but that it may not happen in several lifetimes, never mind within our own lifetimes. And that even so, everything that we do and all that we are responsible for doing sends out a type of an energy, be it positive or negative, that ripples out into the universe, into our worlds, into the lives of those around us, that can do good. So I suppose the two questions are we happy to remain frustrated, or maybe in trust that our actions today may finally bring about a huge change in the psychology of the world, in the way that the individuals in this world are living. As we think of Jesus entering Jerusalem on Palm Sunday, every year I remind us that there was another entry as well. There was another parade. There were two things going on. And in one gate, I believe the East Gate, Jesus arrives with a humble procession on a donkey. Through another gate, it could be the Lion's Gate, comes Pilate with his army. And that big, almost aggressive display of power and might, and that fear-based type of oppressive power. And so you see, we have, as we often have in Scripture, the good and the bad, or the yin and the yang of light and darkness. And thinking of our world today, that great display of oppressive power is still going on. Unfortunately, it's even more dangerous than it ever was now because of the weapons of war that we are now using. But the Christ is calling us to enter a specific gate. And if we look at the metaphors or the picture, the underlying meaning of all these scriptures, we can see that in this particular scripture, we're being asked, what gate are we entering through? Which ties in with what I was saying earlier on. It's a way of life. Entering the same gate as the Christ on Palm Sunday is entering a way of life that he has taught us, that we're not alone in, but that where we open our hearts to him, we walk with him into this way of life. And while I was thinking of these few words for today, I was also thinking that there are a lot of people in this world who may not be connected to any form of religious denomination. And yet they have also entered through that gate of humility, of kindness, and of love. And they deserve credit for this as well. So what's the difference then? Well, the difference is that Jesus takes it up a notch. I really do think he takes it up a notch in our understanding. Christ consciousness is a way of living that is the ultimate way of living. And as I just said to you, it's not a way of living where we're living on our own, but we are living with him and through him. As we think of entering through that gate, and the wind is rising and I can feel rain upon it, I'm going to stop very quickly here, and I'm going to read to you this piece of prose which will ask you a specific question as to what way of life and what gate you are thinking of entering by, or you have already entered by today. Two parades approached the city from opposite horizons. From the west came Pilate, armour catching the sun in hard, sharp fragments, the rhythm of hooves striking the earth like verdicts, measured, inevitable. Banners snapped commands to the wind, and every polished edge whispered of order, control, and fear. From the east came another procession. A borrowed colt carried him, its small steps uncertain yet unforced. Cloaks fell, not as symbols of conquest, but as offerings, soft, mismatched, and human. Children ran too close. Voices spilt into the street. Nothing was arranged, and yet everything was alive. And the city stood between them with its gates wide, its stones remembering every ruler who had ever claimed permanence. Power entered with a clenched fist, promising peace through strength, through silence, through the careful management of fear. Peace entered on unsteady legs, promising something more difficult to achieve. Not control, but surrender. Not dominance, but love that could not be enforced. Two parades, two kingdoms, two definitions of what it means to save. And you stand at the threshold, dust from both roads settling on your skin. One gate gleams cold and certain. You know what it asks. Fall in line. Keep your head down. Trust the weight of metal to hold the world together. The other stands open, unimpressive, almost easy to miss. It asks more than it appears. Lay something down. Risk looking foolish. Believe that gentleness can outlast steel. So which gate do you enter? The one that dazzles your eyes, or the one that undoes your heart?